Carol Burnett is a legend of comedy, a woman whose wit, timing, and unforgettable performances have left a permanent mark on television history. From The Carol Burnett Show to countless appearances on stage and screen, she captivated audiences with her humor, charm, and unmistakable presence. But behind the laughter and applause, there was a tension that few ever saw. A person who, over the years, pushed Carol's patience to its limits, tested her boundaries, and earned her intense, undeniable dislike. For decades, colleagues and insiders whispered about this individual, recounting stories of unprofessional behavior, creative clashes, and personal slights. Carol Burnett, known for her warmth and generosity, rarely expressed anger publicly. Yet those closest to her knew that when it came to this person, her frustration went beyond annoyance. It was genuine, deep-seated, and unforgettable. Many in Hollywood had suspected it, some had joked about it, but few had heard Carol herself confirm the truth. What made the situation even more striking was that it wasn't just about ego or rivalry. This person challenged Carol on multiple levels, professionally, emotionally, and creatively. They disrupted the harmony of her work, questioned her authority, and often seemed oblivious to the respect her career demanded. And while Carol is famous for her ability to turn adversity into humor, there were moments when the irritation was so intense that it could not be softened by a joke, a smile, or a sketch. Now, for the first time, the story has been brought into the light. Carol Burnett, in her characteristic honesty and candor, has revealed the identity of the man who truly earned her dislike, explaining not only why she felt this way, but also how the experience shaped her career, her decisions, and her approach to the world of comedy. For fans, historians, and fellow performers, this revelation finally confirms what many had long suspected. Even the brightest stars have people who test them, frustrate them, and in Carol Burnett's case, earn their genuine hatred. Carol Burnett's career is a testament to brilliance, resilience, and comedic genius. From her groundbreaking work on The Carol Burnett Show to her countless appearances on stage and screen, she has earned a place among the most revered figures in entertainment history. But behind the laughter and applause, Carol navigated a world filled with egos, creative tensions, and individuals who often challenged her patience. Among them, there was one person who, more than anyone else, tested her limits, someone whose behavior left a lasting mark on her professional and personal life. For years, colleagues had noticed the friction between Carol and this individual. While she maintained her signature charm and professionalism on camera, behind the scenes the story was very different. Creative differences turned into arguments, personality clashes escalated into ongoing tension, and small slights, left unresolved, festered over time. Friends and crew members recall moments when Carol's usually unshakable humor was replaced by visible irritation. These were not fleeting moments of frustration. They were deep, enduring reactions to behavior she considered disrespectful and unprofessional. What made the dynamic particularly challenging was that this individual operated in ways that disrupted the harmony of the set. They challenged Carol's authority, questioned her creative decisions, and often seemed to act without regard for the collaborative environment that made her show so successful. While most performers understand that conflict is inevitable in show business, Carol recognized a pattern, a persistent, almost calculated disregard for respect and professionalism. This awareness, though seldom discussed publicly, shaped her interactions and decisions, forcing her to navigate not just the pressures of a live television show, but the complex personalities surrounding her. Despite the tension, Carol Burnett never allowed the conflict to dominate her work. She used humor as a shield, professionalism as a strategy, and resilience as her guide. Friends recall that she would often channel frustration into her performances, using her emotions to fuel comedic timing and creativity. Yet privately, the irritation remained, a reminder that even the most talented, generous, and seasoned performers encounter individuals who test their patience and challenge their principles. Now, reflecting on her career, Carol Burnett has openly acknowledged the depth of her feelings toward this man. She admits that her dislike was not casual or superficial. It was precise, earned, and deeply felt. It is rare for such candid acknowledgement from someone of Carol's stature, and it provides a revealing glimpse into the reality of working at the top of the entertainment industry. Behind the jokes, the sketches, and the accolades, there existed a professional landscape where respect, boundaries, and personality dynamics mattered immensely, and where one individual managed to earn the ire of one of comedy's greatest icons. The tension between Carol Burnett and this individual did not emerge overnight. It developed gradually, a combination of clashing personalities, creative differences, and repeated incidents that tested her patience. Colleagues recall that at first it was subtle, disagreements over scripts, minor disputes about timing, or dismissive comments during rehearsals. But as time passed, these moments accumulated, creating a pattern that Carol could not ignore. For someone known for her generosity and good humor, this accumulation of frustration was unusual, a signal that this person had crossed a line. On set, the challenges were evident. Carol, who prided herself on professionalism and collaboration, found herself repeatedly negotiating with someone who seemed unwilling to respect the structure and rhythm of her work. What might have been minor infractions with other colleagues became major points of contention because of the individual's disregard for authority and for the collective goal of the production. Crew members describe scenes where Carol's composure remained intact outwardly, but her sharp remarks, pointed pauses, and private comments revealed a growing exasperation that was impossible to hide entirely. Even the most seasoned observers could sense the strain. Outside of the studio, the impact was equally significant. The individual's behavior created a ripple effect, influencing others on the set and complicating relationships. Carol's response was measured but firm. She would address issues directly, assert her expectations, and ensure that her creative vision was respected. Yet despite her efforts, there remained an underlying tension that neither party could fully resolve. This was not merely about disagreement or difference of opinion. It was about fundamental respect, understanding, and acknowledgement, qualities that this person continually failed to demonstrate. Friends and collaborators note that Carol's dislike was not born of pettiness or personal vendetta. It was a rational response to repeated disrespect, misjudgment, and unprofessional behavior. Over time, she came to recognize the pattern and accept that her feelings were justified. Unlike fleeting conflicts that arise on fast-paced television sets, this dynamic was enduring, shaping her approach to the work environment, her interactions with others, and even her decision-making on creative matters. For Carol Burnett, it became clear that some personalities, no matter their talent or status, could not be tolerated in ways that compromised the integrity of her work. By speaking publicly about this person for the first time, Carol Burnett validates what many colleagues had suspected for years. Her candid acknowledgement highlights the difficulty of maintaining professionalism in the face of ongoing personal and creative challenges. It also demonstrates that even the most talented, experienced, and charismatic performers are human, that even comedy legends encounter individuals who provoke frustration, demand boundaries, and ultimately earn their genuine dislike. The revelations confirm what fans may have sensed, but never fully knew. Behind the smiles, sketches, and laughter, there existed a real tension, one that left a lasting impression on Carol Burnett and the people who worked closely with her. Carol Burnett's dislike for this individual was not just about isolated incidents. It was reinforced by repeated challenges to her authority and creativity. Sources close to the production reveal that even when the rest of the team complied with her guidance, this person often acted independently, undermining decisions and questioning her judgment. For someone who built her career on discipline, timing, and precision, such behavior was not only frustrating but professionally threatening. It disrupted the flow of rehearsals, complicated performances, and at times threatened to derail entire sketches or segments of the Carol Burnett show. Colleagues recall moments where Carol's patience was pushed to its limits. Behind the camera, she would sometimes pause, take a deep breath, and carefully choose her words, masking the intensity of her frustration. But off-camera, in conversations with trusted colleagues, she would express her irritation openly, emphasizing how this individual's behavior had repeatedly crossed the line. It wasn't personal in the conventional sense. It was a calculated recognition that certain actions could not be tolerated if the integrity of the show and her creative authority was to be preserved. The tension also extended beyond professional disputes. Friends note that this person's attitude occasionally bordered on disrespectful, trivializing the hard work and effort Carol invested in her career. Whereas most performers and crew understood the dedication required to produce live television at the highest level, this individual seemed oblivious to the pressure, the preparation, and the precision demanded by the craft. For Carol, this disregard was not merely annoying. It was a direct affront to the work she had poured her life into. Her disdain was fueled by the understanding that talent alone does not justify unprofessionalism, a lesson she had learned and enforced consistently over decades in the industry. Despite the challenges, Carol Burnett's professionalism never wavered on screen. She continued to deliver performances that were flawless, charming, and timeless, often turning frustration into comedic gold. Yet the reality behind the scenes was far from humorous. Her candid admission about truly hating this individual sheds light on a side of Hollywood rarely seen by the public: the navigation of complex personalities, the endurance of repeated provocations, and the management of high-stakes creative environments. It is a reminder that even icons of comedy face trials that test patience, resilience, and emotional control, and that genuine dislike is sometimes the only reasonable response to persistent disruption. By addressing this story publicly, Carol Burnett not only confirms what many suspected, but also reasserts her authority and professionalism. She makes it clear that her dislike was not trivial or fleeting. It was rooted in repeated actions that compromised her work, her creative environment, and her sense of fairness. In revealing this truth, she offers an unvarnished glimpse into the realities of producing comedy at the highest level, where personal and professional boundaries must be respected, and where even the brightest stars encounter individuals who challenge, frustrate, and in her case, earn genuine hatred. The culmination of Carol Burnett's story about this individual is both revealing and instructive. Over the years, her dislike became less about isolated incidents and more about a pattern of behavior that she could no longer overlook. It was a recognition that talent or fame does not excuse disrespect, disregard for professionalism, or repeated challenges to authority. Carol, who had spent decades perfecting her craft, knew the value of discipline, timing, and collaboration, and she refused to let anyone compromise that, no matter who they were. Her reflections also reveal a broader truth about the entertainment industry. Behind the laughter, the applause, and the polished performances lies a world of personalities, egos, and tensions that can make even the most iconic figures face extraordinary challenges. Carol Burnett's candid acknowledgement of the person she truly hated highlights the reality that successful performers must navigate not only the demands of their craft, but also the complexities of interpersonal relationships. Her dislike was not impulsive or petty. It was a rational, carefully considered response to repeated provocation and unprofessional behavior that threatened the integrity of her work. Despite the tension, Carol Burnett remained the consummate professional. She never allowed her personal feelings to dominate the performances audiences loved. Her ability to transform frustration into comedic brilliance is part of what made her legendary. Yet behind the scenes, the truth was clear. This individual had tested her patience in ways that few ever could. Her public admission now serves as a rare glimpse into the challenges that even the most experienced and celebrated performers face. And it confirms what many in Hollywood had quietly known, that some people, no matter their talent or status, can earn the genuine, unrelenting dislike of even the brightest stars. Ultimately, Carol Burnett's story is a testament to resilience, professionalism, and integrity. Her dislike was not just about personal animosity. It was about protecting the art she dedicated her life to, maintaining standards of collaboration, and holding people accountable for their behavior. In revealing the truth, she provides an extraordinary lesson. The measure of a true professional is not just their talent, but their ability to recognize when someone crosses the line, stand their ground, and maintain their principles. In the end, Carol Burnett's candid acknowledgement sends a powerful message. Even the most celebrated, generous, and beloved performers have limits. There are people who test patience, challenge authority, and provoke genuine dislike. And for Carol, this individual earned every ounce of it. Her story is not just about frustration. It is about boundaries, respect, and the uncompromising standards that have defined her legendary career.